Joining us for this segment, we have Alex Mehr, CEO of Retail E-Commerce Ventures, to discuss e-commerce turning distressed brands into e-commerce powerhouses, as well as opportunities and trends in the space. Alex, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you got it. And tell us about Retail E-Commerce Ventures.
Yeah, so we started with a simple thesis, which was there are all these very strong brands that are kind of stuck in the old model, brick and mortar model, and failed to pivot into e-commerce, where the majority of the commerce is being done at a rapidly increasing pace. And we started with that. So we acquired quite a few well-known brands that had failed to make the pivot, and because of that had become distressed.
So explain to us, you and your business partner, Ty Lopez, you've acquired several brands that we're all aware of: Pier 1 Imports, Radio Shack, Models, Stein Mart, Dress Barn, the women's fashion retailer, Linens and Things, the Franklin Mint, the Book People, all these names that we're familiar with. But these companies, to your point, were sort of dying on the vine and not making that transition to e-commerce. So what made them attractive as an investment?
Yeah, separate them out into each one of these businesses. You can separate out into two pieces. The first piece is the brand awareness, and I call it brand affinity, meaning there are a lot of people out there that identify with the brand, they like the brand, they have a lot of memories with the brand, and they trust the brand. And the second piece is the business model itself. Most of them were majority brick and mortar, which, as you know, it's shrinking. It's somewhat of a shrinking business model, and they failed to pivot and compensate for it by amping up the e-commerce part of the business. So what we do is we purchase the brand itself, which is the strong asset sitting inside that company, and then we change the business model to an e-commerce first business model.
So what areas in retail look attractive from an investment perspective now?
It's interesting. I mean, pretty much every vertical, every area of retail, we can apply the same model. So we're sort of agnostic to what area. We are mostly interested in what is a brand. And when it comes to the brand, we answer two questions. One, what is the brand awareness? Like, what is the percentage of the population that know the brand? And the second piece is brand affinity or likability, if you will. What percentage of people actually like the brand, trust the brand, and would be interested in buying products from the brand if we pivot the model into an e-commerce first model?
Right. So when you talk about the model, is it e-commerce only, or is it more of an omni-channel presence where you will have some brick and mortar and then you have a strong online presence?
Yeah, so we think of it as e-commerce first. So it doesn't mean that we write off other channels. It means you gotta get e-commerce right, and that's what we focus on. So other channels will be developed over time as well, but without e-commerce, without a strong core e-commerce experience, it just the brand is not able to succeed in the future. So the first thing for us is to nail down e-commerce. That's why I called it e-commerce first, not e-commerce only strategy.
Right, which is interesting because we saw that happen with the department stores as well, right? They didn't have that online presence, and we kind of all know what happened with the majors that are in the malls there. So it sounds as if it's kind of along that same premise. So with that said, let's talk about holiday 2021 and what your outlook is for that. And I know you tend to be agnostic towards it, but are there any segments that you think will underperform or outperform?
Yeah, I think home goods will continue to outperform. We will see it. We see it ourselves. Now, the supply chain jam has created a little bit of a wrinkle in this thing, but we are looking for a lot of solutions to go around that problem. The consumer demand is there. The consumer demand is actually stronger than ever, at least based on what we see. And it's just a matter of finding the right solutions for our customers.
Right. All right. Well, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.